Today is Thanksgiving. I did decide to go ahead and bring you along with me on my food preparations for this morning. I've got a lot of stuff laid out. Y'all, I haven't even made a list yet, but let me show you what I got going on behind me. I've got my onions ready, cutting boards ready to chop. I still got to pull out my my celery from the refrigerator. Don't know if I'm going to need all this butter, but I decided to pull it out so it could get to room temperature. Not sure I'm going to, probably will not. I have not yet decided if I'm going to do a cheesecake, but if I do decide to do one, it'll be at room temperature. So, may or may not need my skillet, but the first thing I'm going to get going is my spiral ham. I did pick this up at Sam's Club. And it does come with a packet, but that packet is not keto, so I'm going to make my own glaze. And we are, what, just over 9 pounds on this thing. So what I'm going to do is take this and get all the wrapping off and put it over here in my crock pot. I've already sprayed this down, so I'm gonna start with that first. I got the ham down in here. I'm going to put it on. I'm going to start on high, and I'm probably going to leave it on high for at least an hour, maybe 2, and then I'll bump it down here over here to low. So I've got the ham going. I decided to start with the cornbreads. This is the regular cornbread, and this is the keto cornbread. And so what I've done is, in these 2 different bowls, I have crumbled them up. My Aunt Bobby has said that it has to be crumbled like this, as fine as possible. And her suggestion is now to put it through a food processor, but y'all, I ain't washing that. I just crumble it by hand like I always did, and if some of the pieces are big like that, then they just are. But for the most part, this is how small my Aunt Bobby says to crumble the cornbread. Now, most of this is from my Nana, but my Aunt Bobby is Nana's daughter, and Bobby knows how Nana did it. So I got more lessons from Bobby on how to make the cornbread dressing. So we're starting with this, and here's the, so you can tell they're different colors, but this is the keto version. And again, I've got some big pieces. Oh, that's a little big. I need to just make it smaller. But the inside of the cornbreads are easier to crumble up real fine like that. It's just the these crust bits that stay kind of big. So I'm going to put these to the side, out of my way, and I'm going to, so yeah, I made a mess. I'm going to chop the celery and onion, and I've got a stick of butter melting here, so I'm gonna do one pan for one pan with the butter, celery and onions into one of the dressings, and again into the other one. So I got to do this step twice. And yes, that is my coffee. Do not worry about my coffee cup that I might accidentally turn this on. This burner's broken and has been for years. It doesn't work. So good spot for my coffee, because I've got to have coffee to do all this mess. Okay, I have got my onions. Well, this is one big onion, one big yellow onion, and probably 4 stalks of celery. I used 4 because normally I probably would have done 3, but 2 of them were kind of skinny, so I cut up 4, and in that 1 stick of butter, and I'm going to, let me grab my seasoning salt. Okay, so I'm just going to use my soul food seasoning. Is that even focusing? Soul food seasoning salt, and I'm just going to put it in there, and this is going to end up going all through the dressing, so I'm going to go a little heavy-handed with it, but it will eventually spread through this whole pan of dressing. So I'm going to continue on. saute this, and I'm going to do it again for another onion and more celery for the other pan of dressing. Okay, I went ahead and cut up the onions and celery for the other pan of cornbread dressing. This is getting nice and tender. A little bit longer and it'll be ready to dump into the bowl. But yeah, I wanted to get that crying over with. And yes, I did use the leaves from the celery. They've got good flavor and I paid for them. Why not use them? So this is gonna, well, maybe 5 more minutes and this will be done. And then I can do the exact same thing again with what's in that bowl. And now that and yes, I know I could probably, well, I could put this all in a freezer bag and make broth later. But y'all, my freezer's full. I have no room for it. So I'm just going to throw this away. I've dumped the first batch into the first batch of cornbread, the first batch of celery and onions. And didn't even wash the pan because it's the exact same thing going in the other batch. So getting that melted down and just going to dump all of that in there. And season it with that same seasoning salt. Alright, that's dumped. This is going. And now I'm going on, while this is going, it's going to take a little while. While I'm waiting on this to go, to saute up a little while, I'm going to finish working on this pan. So I've got 6 boiled eggs here that I did in my Instant Pot yesterday. I'm going to take the yolks out, put them in this bowl, and chop up the whites. And those then go in my cornbread dressing. It's the way my Nana did it, so it's the way I do it. Alright, this is still going. Gonna need a little more time, so I'm gonna finish up with this bowl of dressing. I do have a couple of eggs that I've cracked here and beat up. That's gonna go in when I get done, but I've already started. I've got the egg whites in here, and then the yolks I save. I do what my Nana did. She crumbled them on the top for decoration to make it pretty. So now I'm just going to add enough chicken broth. There is no measurement, just however much the cornbread soaks up. So I'm going to, it's a feel and a sound, and I'll show you what it looks like when I get enough in here. Right, I've got enough, but let me see if I can, I don't know, that sauteing on the stove may not let the sound come through, but you can hear the moisture in the dressing, and you can also see it. You don't want it puddling, but you want it moist. So you don't want a dry cornbread dressing. So, but you can hear that, the wetness. And I've just used this big metal spoon so that I can, and I've folded over and over again. And I've got the sound I want. I've got the look that I want. This is ready to go in the pan. And I'm going to end up doing the same exact thing to the keto dressing. I almost forgot to mix in my eggs. This is the binder for the dressing. And before you pour the raw eggs on, that is the time that you taste to see if you're good on seasonings. So I'm going to get these eggs mixed in, and I'm going to put this into a pan. Here are the pans of cornbread dressing. This is keto. This is not. I'm going to cover them in foil. I'm going to put a K on this. I certainly wouldn't want to get them mixed up. Well, now I don't have to worry about getting them mixed up. I forgot to stir in the beaten eggs, raw beaten eggs in here. So I just added that to the pan, stirred it around, and now they look very different. But I'm still going to cover them in foil. But I don't have to write on the foil now. So, okay. On to the next project, I guess. Okay, the next thing I did was made up a big tray of the green beans. I did 3 bags of these Great Value brand fine green beans, 12 ounces, so 3 of those, 1 big can of this with maybe half a can of the almond milk. Mix some of that, some of these onions in here. Y'all, it's just a standard recipe. Add a splash of Worcestershire sauce, a little pepper, and put that in this pan, and I'm just going to cover it with the tin foil and clean up my mess. The next thing I'm going to do is make some kind of keto broccoli casserole. So I've got, what, about 2.5 pounds of frozen broccoli. This is thawed, and I've got it in here, and I'm trying to make a cream sauce. So what I've got in here is the rest of the chicken broth out of the box that I used not quite 2 boxes of chicken broth for my dressings that I made, and this is what was left in one of them, maybe a cup of chicken broth. So I am mixing together, heating this up. I'm going to mix together the cream cheese and this chicken broth, and I'm going to add, I don't know, I know I'm going to add cheese to it. So, but I'm just trying to make a cream of chicken soup, but using just the chicken broth and the cream cheese. So I'll show you what it looks like when I get it all put together. Alright, I did take my whisk to get out all the lumps, so this is done. I've got the stove off. I had a little bit of this kind of the thick shredded cheese, a little bit of that left, and then that was opened, and part of some of these cubed cheese, that bag was open, so I decided, it's open, it needs to be used. I went ahead and put that in here. So I'm going to pour this over the top, and I will probably add a scoop of sour cream. So let me get all that mixed together. Here is my broccoli casserole all done. I did add a scoop of sour cream, mixed it together, and then when I put it in this pan, I just put some little pats of butter all over the top. I'm going to cover it, and I've got 4 pans here that will fit in my oven, 2 on each rack. And I'm going to go sit down and take inventory. Alright, I've got all 4 casseroles here. Then we got the broccoli casserole, green bean casserole, keto Thanksgiving, keto dressing. It's all Thanksgiving. Keto dressing, non-keto dressing. So, I've got the oven heating to 375. I'm going to put 2 on the top rack, 2 on the bottom rack, and let them go for, I guess I'll check them after about 45 minutes. Or that usually, these big pans, they usually take about an hour. So, and I'm shooting to be done with all this right there by noon. Right, I'm gonna turn the camera off and put this in the oven. Well, that's going to be it for today's Thanksgiving meal. No, I didn't get a shot of everything as it came out of the oven because it basically got attacked by us. I did not make a keto dessert. My daughter did make a pumpkin pie. Okay, I'm going to show you what's left. It's all ready to go in the refrigerator, but let me just show you, not pretty now, right? It's not out of the oven pretty. But let me show you what we've got. Alright, this is my daughter's pumpkin pie that she made. She did a good job on that. I did not help her at all, although she did tell me that the crust was browning. And I said, well, you need to get strips and put it around to keep it from burning, because sometimes you have to do that. And I'm getting ready to put the ham away. And here's the green bean casserole. And here's cornbread dressing, the keto cornbread dressing, and the ham and cream cheese and cheese casserole. So everything's going to go in the refrigerator. So you see, nothing's pretty anymore. Well, that pie's kind of pretty. It didn't get dug into. It just got that one piece cut out of it. But yeah, that's Thanksgiving dinner for today. And I'll see y'all later. Bye.